8:18 here at K-Fire. Mitchell in the morning. No Todd Mitchell here this morning. Jesse Rossman filling in with the Guns and the 701 as we check in with them every Friday. And, of course, for this time of the year...
Wake up! No!
No, I want an official red undercarbonation 200 by layer arsenal.
He'll shoot your eye out, kid. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
Merry Christmas, guys. Clay and JD from Guns and the 701.
Merry Christmas. How you doing today?
I'm doing just fine.
Gotta love that Christmas Story. That's a great movie.
Absolutely the best.
I've actually shot myself in the eye with a BB gun of Red Ryder when I was a much younger lad. I shot at a bird who was sitting on a tree, and the BB ricocheted directly back off of the ash tree and hit me right in the eyeball. But I didn't lose my eyesight, luckily. I think I got that for my birthday, too, not for Christmas, though.
See, they were right, weren't they?
Yeah, movies are right about a lot of things, apparently. So that one, I wish they were right about. But like I said, didn't lose my eye, so I should have been wearing glasses. But, back in the early 80s, we didn't do that sort of thing, I guess.
Didn't use helmets. We rode in the back of pickups, and somehow we all survived.
Yeah. I still ride in the back of a pickup when I get a chance, but...
So my kids.
So what's going on in Billings, Clay? I'm gonna let you kind of update this the story about the guy who lives in the quote gun-free school zone.
Yeah, we've been following this case out there in Billings, Montana. It's Gabriel Metcalf. He's a 49-year-old gentleman who he had to move back with his mother and take care of her is basically what happened. He came back to help her out, did some work, for her. I mean, it's like any of us face a lot of times. We got to go back or we got to help our parents as they age, and then we're happy to do it. Well, he did this. Well, while he was there, and I'm just going to kind of give you a quick wrap-up or how we got here. Basically, a neighbor moved in next to them guys, and, he wasn't exactly a nice gentleman. He's actually had a lot of problems. He had a order protection filed against him by Gabriel and his mother because of his behavior and threats. Essentially, he had felony charges charged on him. There's a trial starting in January 2024, and Metcalf and these guys, they felt threatened, and I guess I don't blame them. And the police basically said they couldn't be much help, and left it at that. Well, Gabriel, like any of us, I'm sure you'd do the same, Jamie. If I felt threatened, I know I'd probably protect my property and my family. Well, that's what Mr. Metcalf did. He decided he's going to protect himself. He told the police that how it went. Police told him that they would only prosecute violations of the protective order, which they had against the neighbor, if they had video evidence. Doesn't matter, and as we go through this case, someone can call in and just make a random call on the complaint. That's okay as long as it's against the gun owner. But when you're trying to actually uphold the law and protect yourself, police said, nope, can't do nothing. What was that, Jamie?
Yeah, no, I'm just agreeing with you. You're exactly right. They're more than happy to go after somebody if somebody makes an empty threat claim against a gun owner. But if a gun owner does it, you're paranoid or something. The guy also had a telephone. This neighbor of theirs also had a telephone threats against other people. So,
yeah, that's and get this: the Billings Police Department knew about all this, but said there was not much they could do. So they kind of ignored the situation, which is actually going to tie into our next article here when we're done. But so Gabriel, Mr. Metcalf, he decided he's going to get a 20-gauge shotgun. It's a single shot. He sat on his front yard with his phone, waiting for, the guy did something. He had his phone, he had his gun to protect him. He had his gun to protect himself and his mother, his phone to video it, so that he could actually provide evidence to the police department as their request, really. And school is not in session. That's important. These guys live right across the street from a school. Now, as we all know, that there was the Federal Gun-Free Zone Act that was passed 1995, though, it was found unconstitutional. But the Clinton administration, and as we all remember, old Beast Woman Reno, they decided to get in there and change a few words, and they claimed then that they fixed the constitutionality of it, and that's where this case goes. But the problem is he has a gun. He's within that zone on his private property, and this is where this all happens. Some people got a little bit upset, evidently. They complained about him having a gun across the street from a school. Remind you, it wasn't even in session. He said he's not violent. He had not threatened anyone. He had no criminal record, and we're talking about Mr. Metcalf. But the local leftist paper out there, like a lot of them are, I think Bismarck Tribune's one of them. Anyway, Bismarck Gazette publicized this case. They made remarks that the police could do nothing. They turned it into this huge thing. They publicized it, and the police said that they might be able to get their friends in federal government to help. Oh, now that's a smart idea, ain't it? So Gabriel and Vivian, they were contacted by the FBI then. And they believed that the FBI could police the local police. So they called them too, which is another bad idea. Police officer working on the joint ATF Billings Police Task Force then contacted Metcalf and Vivian, that's his mother. They obtained a warrant for the violations, and that's where it happened. Rather than helping out these two people, nope, they just went ahead and they got a warrant, said that they were in violation of the Federal Gun-Free Zone Act, which I mentioned. And, I mean, this thing, it's been upheld by 5 appellate courts since the rewording. 3 have stated that the law remains unconstitutional, though. So it's a 5-3. It hasn't been an unanimous upholding of it. But there's never been a good challenge out there since until now. And where this goes is he had his gun stored in, days before the school started. Police task force didn't care. They come in, filed federal charges. And to kind of fast forward here, he sat in jail for a month. And then his federal defender, Mr. Russell Hart, was finally able to get the court to review everything at his detention hearing. He showed the judge that the prosecution had misled the court, which they did. That federal prosecutor, and we covered this before, basically made it sound like Mr. Metcalf was just this crazy man, essentially.
Guns in the 701. We check in with them every Friday throughout the entire 8 o'clock hour. It's 8:25 here at K-Fire. You hang on, guys. I'll come back to you here in about 15 minutes, all right? $8:43 here at K-Fire. Mitchell in the morning. No Todd Mitchell here this morning, already off celebrating Christmas. But we finish off the work week the same way every week. Guns in the 701, JD and Clay. We'll get back to your story after I so rudely interrupted you guys earlier this hour here to finish off. But I did see something earlier this morning that I thought you guys might like. I'm sure you're very familiar with how the sports uniform works, how there's a name and a number on every jersey, right? And
absolutely,
there are options where you can create your own jersey. You can put whatever name, whatever number you want on it. You can put your favorite number and your last name on it. But this guy that I saw this morning, I believe it was at the Dallas Stars hockey game last night, the name on the back of the jersey is Amendment. The number is 2.
That's awesome.
Big Second Amendment Dallas Stars fan. I thought you guys might like that.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I love it. I'm going to look that up.
That's great. I bet Jamie will have one soon.
I might have to start liking hockey. So, hey, before you get back to this, the guy had a clean record, right? It was Mr. Gabriel, but yet they threw him in the clink. And then they put a GPS bracelet on the guy. And then how long did they do that, and what did that cost him for being nothing but having a clean record?
Yeah, 56 days. He had this GPS after he was finally released from jail. Cost him $10 a day out of his own pocket. And, that was kind of insane. So it was over $500, of course, to keep this on him. And that was one of the conditions. For Gabriel to be let loose when he has done nothing wrong. And that was kind of what basically the defender was saying, the federal defender. But anyway, what happened was the briefs have now been filed. He's out of jail right now. It's going to be a huge challenge coming, to this Gun-Free Zone Act, and it's probably the best one that we've ever seen. I think that's why a lot of Second Amendment Foundation and a lot of these other gun organizations that protect the Second Amendment are picking this up, because it's going to be the first one after Bruin, which we all know Bruin was a huge case setting precedent. So it's going to be interesting. It'll probably be appealed no matter how it's ruled here in the actual federal case in this court. Susan P. Waters is the judge in this. I don't know a heck of a lot about her, but I can tell you that no matter the ruling, one side will appeal it, then it goes to what we call the Ninth Circus. It's the Ninth Circuit, but we've always called it the Ninth Circus because of the craziness. And depending on what that three-judge panel goes with, it'll probably go all the way to the Supreme Court. That's my guess. I believe that's what will probably happen, and this case will be drug out for years. But at least Mr. Metcalf now, he is out of jail. He doesn't have a bracelet anymore on his ankle, and it's now just a matter of going through the procedures and the appeals. So I love the fact that Montana law actually upholds Mr. Metcalf's rights, but the feds came in and prosecuted this. So it'll be interesting. It's going to be expensive as any court case, but luckily they've got some help, and they do have a GoFundMe. Actually, it's a Go Send Go, and you can look that up. We did have that posted on our site for a while, and I can put that back up if anyone's interested. Supporting this guy and helping him out.
Well, a couple of things I would add there, Clay. You said it could be years before this case is resolved. So that makes next year's election even more important, because if this does go to the Supreme Court and a Republican doesn't win the presidency and appoints more constitutionalist judges, you're going to get a leftist in there, and she, whichever it is, gets to appoint Supreme Court judges. They'll appoint judges that think the Constitution's an outdated piece of toilet paper. In this case, will get thrown out, and this Gun-Free School Zone Act will be ruled constitutional by them. And by the way, Clay, this was put in 1995. How's that gun-free school zone been working?
Yeah, it's not working real well, is it? Because all them criminals say, wait, there's a federal act. I better not go in there. Yeah, that's happening, isn't it?
And guess what? The leftists will say, Clay, that's because all the guns that have been sold. But guns are illegal to take on the school property, so how can that possibly be?
Boy, they don't talk about that, do they?
Yeah. It's called the inconvenient truth, which leftists absolutely detest. So, Jesse, what's our hard stop here? I got a couple stories. I'm going to make sure I don't pick one that's too long, my friend.
Let's go 2.5 minutes.
Roger that. I'm going to stick with the one I got here, and we'll make it short. So, U.S. Army reservist who was interviewed by police about fellow reservist Robert Card. And if you forgot who Robert Card is, he was the guy who did the mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine. He downplayed warnings about him. His body camera showed September 16th footage, captured audio, and blurred out the reservist being interviewed. He was identified later as in a Maine lawyer's report as Captain Jeremy Reamer. Reamer told two officers that Card never made any specific threats, which later in the story I beg to differ, and that the base officials at National Guard Base in Saco, where the body cam recordings took place, they were not expecting him to be there. He also said the soldier who initially reported concerns about Card is not the most credible. Well, it turns out the guy was credible. But in regards to Card, Reamer said he did say he would shoot places, but he didn't say here. And remember, he just said the threats weren't credible. And officers who conducted this less than 5-minute interview, asking the captain these questions, identified in the report to the sheriff as the commander of Card's company, and if they should continue to stake out his home and keep an eye on him. And this, Captain Renner said, "I don't see that we need to tie you guys up here." So he basically told him, "We don't need you watching this Card's house." Right? And if he does show up at the base, we're going to go ahead and de-escalate it ourselves, and we'll handle it on our end. And he reiterated he's not supposed to be here, like I said. So, what more of a sign do you need? And then I don't know if this guy was his good buddy and covering for him, or what the heck was going on. But I mean, it looks like this could have possibly been stopped, Clayton.
Oh, it absolutely could have been. They ignored it, and now they're trying to cover it up afterwards. So, yeah.
Guns of the 701, we hear from them every Friday morning. Get a good start to the weekend. Guys, thanks so much again. You have a Merry Christmas, all right?
Merry
Thanks,
Christmas,
Jesse, and
thank you.
Yep. Merry Christmas to everybody out there, and Happy New Year. And be safe while you're traveling, and just have a great time remembering that Jesus is our Savior, and that's why we celebrate the season.
Amen. All right.
Sir.
Thanks, guys. Coming up on 8:51 here at K-Fire, we'll celebrate some birthdays.